It's been nearly 7 years since the original Retina MacBook Pro came out, so let's see how it's held up. This is the first Retina MacBook Pro, and a review of it is really a tale of two laptops. One tale is a fantastic, newly affordable, and very well-aged laptop that holds up extremely well for something that is almost 7 years old. And the other story is of a troublesome, almost impossible to upgrade compromise of a laptop that wasn't ready for prime time 7 years ago and still has its major issues today. Let's start with the good. This laptop is pretty much the peak of laptop design in my opinion. The only thing that dates it in the least are the bezels, which are a little thick for 2019. Apart from that, there is no sign that this laptop sports a 7-year-old design. It has aged incredibly well. It's more than thin enough for a 15-inch laptop. It's sleek and well-proportioned, made of extraordinarily precise and sturdy aluminum. Also, this generation of MacBook Pro sports the best screen plus trackpad plus keyboard combination in the business. Starting with the screen, we have the first iteration of Apple's superb Retina display with a resolution of 2880 by 1800 at 220 pixels per inch. It's an IPS panel, and it was pretty much the first mainstream high-resolution laptop display. I have to say it's held up incredibly well 7 years later. The brightness and colors are fantastic, and the viewing angles are practically perfect. Since 2012, numerous laptops have met and exceeded the screen resolution and pixel density of this MacBook Pro, opting for 4K panels even on stuff as small as 13-inch laptops. And in fact, a lot of people balk at Apple for refusing to increase the resolution of their displays even after 7 years. However, I don't really see a need to increase the screen resolution. Once you get to the point where you can't really distinguish the individual pixels from a normal viewing distance, that is, after all, what Apple defines a Retina display as, there really doesn't seem to be a need to increase the number of pixels. I'm certainly not the first to make this argument, but I think it's incredibly valid. There's no need to waste battery on a 4K panel that you don't really even need. Next, the keyboard and trackpad. Everyone knows that Apple makes fantastic trackpads, and while this one isn't quite as good as Apple's recent oversized Force Touch trackpads, there's really nothing to complain about. If you've never used one of Apple's glass multi-touch trackpads, I implore you to try one, even if just for a bit. The gestures are intuitive and the tracking is calibrated perfectly. Apple's normal non-butterfly chiclet backlit keyboard is utterly uncontroversial. It's not exceptional, but it just does its job. While some prefer other well-known laptop keyboards such as those found on Lenovo ThinkPads, there's really nothing to complain about on these MacBooks. All of this is complemented by the simply excellent port selection on these Retina MacBook Pros. You have 2 USB 3, 2 Thunderbolt 2, an HDMI, an SD card reader, and a MagSafe port. Which, by the way, was an excellent style of charger, and as much as I like the convenience and versatility of USB-C, can we all just agree that MagSafe was a really good charger type? Under the hood, the 2012 Retina holds up remarkably well. Part of this is due to Apple's excellent software optimization, and part is due to recent Intel chips staying snappy much longer than they used to. The Retina comes with either a 2.3, 2.6, or 2.7 GHz quad-core Ivy Bridge i7, 8GB of 1600 MHz DDR3 RAM that could be upgraded to 16 at the time of purchase, but not after the fact, and either a 256, 512, or 768GB SSD. This was Apple's first
all-flash architecture
Pro notebook, and it's a big improvement over the clunky hard drives of the unibody models that preceded it. In everyday tasks, this 7-year-old laptop feels brand new. Applications open instantly, the machine turns on in a matter of seconds, and the UI runs flawlessly thanks to both macOS's fantastic optimization and the dedicated graphics that kick in if you need them to. These give this old screamer an edge over the integrated graphics found in 13-inch MacBook Pros. For most people, it's honestly overkill. The only resource a standard user would run out of on this computer is the 8GB of RAM, but the quad-core i7 and 650M graphics leave plenty of horsepower left over for more demanding tasks. Video editing in 1080p, running Photoshop, Illustrator, or any other of a plethora of creative applications are a walk in the park, and they look fantastic on this gorgeous display. And speaking of pro applications, today's video sponsor Skillshare is here to help you expand your digital skill set. Skillshare is an online learning platform with classes in graphic design, video editing, photography, and a lot more. You can check out Skillshare in the description below, and I'll have a code to give you guys 2 free months of Skillshare Premium for the first 500 people that click and sign up. Not everything is sunshine and roses with the original Retina MacBook Pro. To start, there's the cost. When this machine was new, it had a staggering price tag of $2,200. Adjusted for inflation, that comes out to about $2,400 in today's money. This massive price hike was rather jarring in 2012, and seeing as a base 15-inch MacBook Pro today costs, you guessed it, $2,400, this is clearly where Apple wants the Retina Pro to be. Here's the thing though, in 2019 you have to shell out that $2,400 for a 15-inch MacBook Pro, but the 2012 Retina had a very strong competitor. It was the regular 2012 MacBook Pro. The two computers ran the same exact processors and the same exact graphics, although the 2012 non-Retina started with half a gig of VRAM while the Retinas all had a gigabyte, but other than that, they were fundamentally the same. And sure, the Retina had a thinner design, a vastly superior display, and all-flash storage,
all-flash architecture,
instead of clunky hard drives, but it was really hard to justify the extra $500 that this thing commanded. Compounding this dilemma was the strong suit of the unibody MacBook Pros, their upgradability. You could put flash storage, albeit slower than the Retina, in a 2012 MacBook Pro after you bought it. You could go from the standard 4GB to 16 gigs of RAM with a few turns of a Phillips head screwdriver. You could even twirl out a few more screws and replace the CD drive with another SSD. Then you could RAID 0 the two and have a mega disk with impressive read-write speeds that would rival even the fast Blade SSDs in the Retinas. And the best part is, you could do this whenever you wanted, not just on Apple's website before you clicked buy. And then the problems started. This MacBook Pro, unlike the contemporary 2012 non-Retina, has a fair amount of known common issues. And they're all out of warranty, because it's 7 years old. First, there's StainGate, where users discovered that the anti-reflective coating on the display would peel off sometimes, leaving nasty stains and marks and necessitating a replacement of the display. Then there's the rather inconvenient matter of the graphics card failure that plagued the 2012 and early 2013 15-inch Retinas. I should note that this is a different sort of issue from the 2011 MacBook Pros. The graphics card itself is not the problem in this case. Keep in mind, the unibodies from 2012 have the same graphics and no such issue. To give a simplified explanation of the issue, there's an IC on the board, U8900, that controls voltage to the GPU V-core, and due to Apple's use of crappy lead-free soldering, the chip's connection can be weakened over time and with heat until it provides inconsistent voltage to the GPU. This causes all sorts of waywardness and ultimately renders the computer dead in the water until the issue is resolved. Fortunately, this can be resolved somewhat easily by resoldering the IC with much better leaded solder. However, most people don't have the know-how or the tools to remove the logic board and resolder an IC on the board. At the very least, though, it is easier than the 2011 MacBook Pros, which, due to just having really bad GPUs, really can't be fixed with any amount of permanence. All of this begs the question, why would you buy the original Retina MacBook Pro? My advice is this: If you want a less expensive MacBook Pro that's still got plenty of power, save about $100 to $150 off of this Retina's roughly $600 average asking price, and go for the normal unibody 2012 MacBook Pro. At least you'll be safe from known defects and have the ability to upgrade your computer if you want, while not really sacrificing any performance. If you're dead set on a Retina and you have a bit more cash to spend, say around $700 or a little more than that, grab a late 2013 15-inch Retina MacBook Pro with dedicated graphics. Its NVIDIA 750M graphics are much better than the 650, and it doubles the VRAM. It also has better battery life thanks to Haswell processors, and it's got 16 gigs of RAM as standard. Not to mention it has the same great design, port selection, keyboard, trackpad, and display. I have a video on this computer, so you should definitely go check it out if you're interested. As for the 2012 Retina, I like this computer. I really do. I like that it pushed the industry towards higher resolution displays, towards thin and light chassis, towards all-flash architecture. But despite all of that, it's hard for me to recommend this laptop for a standard user or a semi-pro. It just doesn't really make sense. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to follow me on Twitter @Miani. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Let me know what you think about the original Retina MacBook Pro down in the comment section below, and I'll see you all in the next video.